this is, you guys are you are getting into a new course now, right? All of you are newbies here, correct? Yeah, so that's why the topic for today is the future of newbies in the age of AI. So what is that we'll talk about? You know, evolution of AI. I'm 100% sure everyone has heard about the term AI. You all know that? Right, right. And then the AI revolutionizing lives and the business. So it revolutionizes not only the business space, it is entering in our personal spaces as well, right? And then how do we adapt? That's the $1 million question, right? There's so much changing, but what we can do to get comfortable with it. Career opportunities, some of the online courses, what you guys can do to make yourself more relevant, how can you keep yourself updated, what is industry expecting, or rather what is the gap that we see in the organization, right? So those are some of the topics that we will talk about. So ma'am was gracious enough, she introduced myself, but just let me add a bit to it. So I have my educational background is engineering. Got into IT, worked with organizations like Oracle, then moved to SAP Labs, and then since last 18 years I have been in IBM. Again, the education background is something else, and what I do today is pretty different, right? So not coming from the core finance background, but something which I learned on the job. And then, you know, since last so many years I'm working in SAP Finance, leading people who are chartered accountants, ICWAs, and I'm an engineer. So you can imagine, you know, how there's vast difference between sometimes what we learn and what we end up doing in life. So I just wanted to set that as a starting point, because sometimes what we think, and if 25 years back somebody would have told me that, you know, you would be doing finance in your life, I would have been laughing. I still laugh at myself today also sometimes, because I didn't know what is debit and what is credit. And here I am. I did my electronics engineering, by the way, hardcore technical field, and then landed up in some of the projects which you know gave me the knowledge in finance. I learned and then moved into from analytics, moved to business planning, then financial consolidation and hardcore finance. So that has been a bit of, you know, my personal journey so far. So now let's get into the agenda item, right? The world is changing rapidly. How many of us believe that? You know, there's every day there's something new which is coming. Earlier, I mean, back in the day, just maybe few years back, right? ChatGPT was such a big word. Everyone used to talk about it, and come today, just a matter of few years, or maybe one and a half year. How many new AI platforms that we have seen? Have you all heard about Gemini, Claude, and all these things, right? So you can imagine the kind of competition or the kind of inventions which are happening in this space, right? So it is for sure the world is changing very, very rapidly. Careers will evolve. How many of you believe that whatever job that we used to do maybe just 5 years back, I must say, we will be doing the same jobs in next 5 years? Do you think? No. Probably the jobs would be there. Not probably, it would be there 100%. It's just that the way we do it, the way we deliver few things, the way we run the projects would change, right? The tools that we use to do those projects, to deliver those projects, that will change. New roles and opportunities are coming up. Few years back, I think nobody would have imagined a role in the IT companies, AI ethicist. Have you guys heard about it? AI content creators. um, uh, AI ethics. I mean, ethics used to be it used to be a job role, but now it is coming for AI, and all of you know that there are a lot of ethical aspects coming along with AI. Mindset and adaptability are becoming more important than degrees. Guys, believe this. It's your professional or your education is one aspect, but how do you build on top of that will set you apart, or will make you successful in life. So the reason I gave you my example to start off with, it's not to showcase that how great it is. The intention was, the education will give us some base, but not necessarily we will continue to do something in our lives on that base. We might take different turns, twists will come, and we'll end up doing something very different than we learned in our college education, right? So the important aspect is resilience. How do we deal with those changes which are coming in our way, and that mindset, that's what is the most critical aspect in today's day and age, right? So AI is revolutionizing our lives. ChatGPT, Google Maps, this kind of sounds like old things nowadays, right? How many of maybe you guys are Gen Z types, but we never knew things like ki Zomato aake the food will get delivered at our places. That was unheard of. So and we are just talking about few years back again. ChatGPT maybe couple of years old, not more than that, right? Lot of these fancy watches that we wear these days, right? It will show us heart rate and all those things. Again, not very old inventions, but everything is revolving around AI in some shape and form, right? So it is indeed revolutionizing our lives. There are some examples, and I'm sure all of you are aware of that, or maybe you know more in this space. Why I'm giving these examples are, these are not very old stories, right? In last few years itself, we have seen a tremendous amount of change. You would have seen it probably the way you learn. I have seen it in the way we work, what we expect when the new people are coming in the organization. So everything is changing. Even we are there in the organization for a long time. The organization is expecting something very, very different from us, that like what I did for 25 years is not making sense anymore, right? So if I say that I have so much of experience, okay, good to have that experience, but if we don't adapt, then we will be left behind, right? So the idea is, how do we navigate our way? I just want to show you one of the AI related example that we have done in IBM, right? So I really want you guys to hear about it.
That tension between what has been and what is to come, that's what we use to create designs for the here and now, for what is.
It's an incredibly exciting time to be a designer in India.
India doesn't imitate the international scene anymore. We create our own fashion, which shapes and becomes a part of the global conversation.
We're thrilled to work with IBM because Watson's capabilities let us visually travel back and forth in time and space in mere seconds.
Watson's image recognition ability is not only human-like, it's better. It studies vast image banks and gives really genuine insights. Bollywood has shaped fashion in India for decades, but now fashion shapes Bollywood. Which is why we tasked Watson to study the last half century of Bollywood, as well as the international fashion scene.
And the results that Watson gave us were astonishing. We saw all the major trends over a very long period of time, and some obscure ones too.
Enormity of a task of this scale, I'm not saying it's not doable, but I doubt we would have undertaken it by ourselves.
What we've done with this dress is a synthesis, a kind of fusion of different cultures and old and new ways of doing things.
And this is just the beginning. We aim to use Watson to help augment the entire design process.
What's amazing is it doesn't feel like technology. It feels like you're communicating with a higher intelligence that gives you the answers you want. Fast, very fast. This is not just the future of fashion. This is the future.
Okay, so Watson is, so I'm not here to promote Watson, by the way. I'm just giving the example because Watson X is our own internal AI platform which we use to create different agents, and we have like a number of use cases across the domains, be it in CPG or in fashion media, in utilities, energy, so on and so forth. The idea behind showing this video was there's no limit to the creativity, right? We have the tools, but how do we use it? That's what, as I said, how we can use the tools, how we can use the AI, and how we can apply it. That's where the major, like the future trend is. It looks like not knowing enough, but how you can apply it to solve some of the problems. So that's what is expected from students or whoever is using it, for that matter, right? Even the working professionals, for that matter. So what do we do, right? AI, as we know, can automate some of the tasks, right? It will automate. Automation is the simplest form of, it's not AI also, it's just an automation. Analyze large volumes, generate content, improve productivity, speed, etc., etc. We all know about it, right? What it can't do, and where we come into picture, we as a human beings come into picture, right? AI is, at the end of the day, it's a piece of software running on some machine, right? But the main thing is it does not have the kind of imagination and the creativity that we guys can bring to the table, right? Leadership and empathy, critical thinking, ethical judgment, relationship building. Why these things are becoming so critical now, right? And I saw in your agenda that there's another topic for the day. It's, how do we build the mindsets? Because I think everyone has realized by now that people will learn the things, be it AI, be it automation, be it, whatever fancy things that keep on coming. People will learn it. The learning is not enough, as I am emphasizing again and again. Learning is not enough. Again, important. The first thing is awareness. Second thing is we should learn. Third thing is how do we apply. And that's where I see the biggest gap in the workforce. Every business deal now, we are going to the clients, like, with SAP, we have done so many projects, we have delivered SAP finance, like, finance, controlling, treasury, planning, financial consolidation, so on and so forth. We keep giving all that gyan all the time. The thing is, what new we are bringing to the table. So whenever I go to any RFP presentations, and whenever it's RFP is request for proposal, that's the terminology that we use in business, where we pitch in our ideas to the clients, right? So the first thing that they ask is, this is all good, you have done it for so many years, we know that, you know it, right? What is the difference? What is the difference? Now you guys are saying you have your in-house tool, Watson X, and all these things. How are you leveraging all these tools to fast track the project delivery, right? How can you make your SDLC, software development life cycle, faster? How can you do some of the manual tasks with the help of AI? Let's say simple thing, reconciliation of the data, right? There's a source system, we are getting the data from, let's say from Salesforce or Workday, some data is coming from Oracle, some data is coming from flat files, and there's vast variety of gamut is there, right? We are getting the data. How can you reconcile this data? Assume that I'm getting the data from old system to the new system. How is there any way by which I can put AI to use to make sure that the report in system A, which is the source, and the report in system B, they are reconciling automatically without a person looking at and matching the numbers, which used to happen, which we still do, by the way. It's all these AI things looks fancy on the board, but I don't think we have still arrived to a place where everything is not everything, I must say, at least not even 30-40% of the things or the redundant tasks which are automated or are done by AI. So the hard questions which are getting asked at the time of client discussions, what you guys are doing about it. So now let's come back to the main agenda. How do you shift? How do you change the mindsets, right? And since now you people are in the educational, still in the educational setup, right? So it's the right time it's the right place and the right time how you can navigate your way or build yourselves in next whatever time that you have on this campus, right? And even when you will be passing out. So what are some of the common fears that we hear nowadays, right? Will the entry level tasks disappear? And again, let me tell you, this is the topic of coffee table gossip even in the organizations. It's not only for freshers anymore. Will the jobs disappear? Everyone has their own point of view on that. Everyone has a theory behind it, right? Companies, but entirely new career paths will begin. I gave you some of the examples, right? All the AI related jobs are the new jobs which are coming into picture. So my analysis, at least on this, is the jobs will not disappear. The jobs which we used to do earlier will disappear for sure. The new jobs, the new job roles will come up. The job roles will evolve, for that matter, right? The key is to evolve faster than the change. Do you guys agree that we need to be fast enough? We need to be fast enough indeed, right? And the companies still need adaptable, trainable talent. Guys, let's understand this. Everyone knows that the good talent comes from the educational organizations, right? We do a lot of campus hirings, and what we see sometimes is the gap and the challenges, so to say. So I thought, I'll give you some of the perspectives on that front, so that you can use your time here and groom yourself in those areas. So that's why I chose this topic. So what you can do differently? So skills that will matter the most: problem solving and analytical thinking. What do we even mean by that? You guys are solving the problems day in and day out, right? Not necessarily whatever that you write on your notebook, right? In general also, there is so much traffic on the road. How can I solve that problem? What intelligent thinking I can do? Can I take another road or do something innovative about it? Start early, go reach somewhere early and do your work, like whatever, So the thing is, it's how do you approach, how do you look at the things differently, right? That's important. Communication and storytelling, very important aspect. If you can tell your, assume that you have done a project in your as a part of your curriculum. If you can put it in the form of a compelling story, right, then it makes it interesting. At the start, I told you what was my background. Started with engineering, landed up somewhere else, right? It was my story, simple story of maybe few seconds, but the other person can relate to it. So stories are everywhere. We have listened to stories right from our childhood, right? That's the way we all grew up. We all heard stories of all kinds of fictions, Mahabharata, Ramayana and all that, right? And we still see movies. Those are all stories, right? And why do we connect? Why do we connect with that? Because, you know, that's the impactful way of passing on the message, right? Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But the thing I feel is that putting your perspectives together in the form of story, if not story, but how compelling you can make it, right? That makes it very, very different. Be it, as I said, if you are going for an interview, or if you are presenting your project, or you are presenting any ideas on a big platform, or maybe within your friend circle, what sets it apart is, you know, the other person thinks, what is in it for me? Am I going to get benefited? Then only it will connect with you. Am I right? Does it make sense? So everyone is trying to look at how it is relevant for me. If it is not relevant for me, I think I am already losing out the connect with the whole topic in itself, right? So we have to learn this skill of continuous storytelling. AI literacy and digital skills, very, very important. Whenever you will present your ideas, put it in the form of story or compelling narrative. You should have it. Again, no one expects that we need to be extremely good in our communication, right? Nobody is great at it to start off. Some people are great communicators from their early age. But at least in my case, if I have to tell you my example, I was extremely bad at it. I could never communicate effectively. I always had apprehension कि कौन क्या बोलेगा. People will say, you know, no, this is very basic thing. What is this lady trying to tell? You know, so it took me quite a while to come out of this whole cycle of self-doubt. But and I'm so happy, like people here, when I look at you guys are you people seem to be very, very confident, but which was not the case. You know, we all have our own journeys, we have navigated our own ways, we have our own set of challenges, fears, but how do we overcome it? How do we put ourselves in a such a way that, you know, that will make you look different than the other person? So what I'm trying to say is, AI probably will not replace the things. It's the thing that will matter the most. How do you use that AI to do the job that you are doing more effectively, right? So you're learning something, you are solving some problem, you are going to ChatGPT asking for answer, and if you are writing that answer, I don't think, I'm not too sure how much you are learning, right? But my theory on this would be, get some part from AI, but apply your own thought, and on top of AI, what is different perspective that you are bringing to the table. Otherwise, इसने भी ChatGPT से किया, उसने भी ChatGPT से किया, and the answers start looking similar. You know, people can easily figure it out what is coming from AI nowadays. So it's very important, it's extremely important to bring your own point of view on top of that. Whenever you are presenting, whenever you are putting forward your ideas, right? What you think is there, right? AI is telling you 1,000 things, that's okay. Probably whatever that you are saying is also there, what AI is saying. But you have to put in your perspective, your understanding, your experience, what you have seen, you have heard, read through social media, whatever it is, right? So you have to bring in your own flavor. That's when your idea will resonate. Again, when can you use it? Maybe in your projects, you must be presenting your ideas somewhere, right? Maybe some kind of group discussions, or presenting your projects, doing some, at least we used to have some kind of presentations in the college, wherein we used to ask, we were asked to share the knowledge on some of the things. Even in the organizations, we have been asked, you know, if there is new topic coming in, we have been asked to present about it. Even even if I'm going for a promotion from level X to level Y, I have to present what I did. And if I can present it with the story or with the narrative which is compelling enough, then only my idea is going to get sold. I have been working day and night, I'm a hard worker, I have done more than anyone else, but if I'm not able to present it, then that's it. That's where I'm losing out on the battle, right? And that's why in the age of all these tools, gamuts and everything, I think how we communicate, how we can effect, again, fluency does not matter, don't take me wrong. Nobody is expecting you to be very eloquent or, whatever. The thing is, you should have idea and you should know what, so let's assume that you are doing a project, right? You have an idea, you are working on it, you have built something, let's say you have created some project out of it. The thing is, what you should be able to articulate is, which problem will get solved because of this? Which industry will get benefit out of this, right? It could be a normal day-to-day scenario where everyone will get benefited, but some of the solutions can be very, very specific. Some could be banking related, some could be FMCG related, some could be energy utilities related, right? So it's extremely important to bring that flavor of industry. The problem solving is one part, but how that problem, whatever solution that you are giving, which industry will get benefited out of it. So start thinking from that perspective as well, right? Some of the ideas may be so universal that it can get applied everywhere, right? But some of the ideas can be very, very specific. Some can be very specific to, let's say, again, I can give example of healthcare. Maybe you are trying to solve some problem for healthcare. So we did one project. It was a prototype project, by the way, to start off with. So we are expected to do financial planning for the clients. I mean, when I say we don't do planning, but we wanted to implement a system which will help the clients to do their financial planning, right? And we initially we did it in a traditional way of whatever is the tool is capable of doing, is what SAP provides as a feature. We did all that, and then what we introduced in here was how we can bring the macroeconomic factors into that planning. There are so many wars around nowadays, right? Supply chains are failing. आज war हो गया, कल पेट्रोल बंद, LPG बंद, work from home, all of that, right? So in a day's time, I mean overnight, some problem will creep in. Your supply chain is going to fail. How resilient is your business to all these kind of scenarios? What you can do? So what we did in that project was, again, it was a POC to start off with, then it got materialized into a real-time project. So we did bring in the macroeconomic factors, it could be like some data which is coming in from some of the sites, routers, some of the data was coming in from maybe some important portals, some of the tax authority systems and things like that. So we got some macroeconomic factors from other systems, from social media. How many of you know sentiment analysis? You guys know? Yeah. So we did incorporate the data which is coming in from social media, from these external authorities, from this macroeconomic factors, and we put in all that in the solution that we were preparing for the client. Again, not everything was passed for sure. The client had their own reservations on doing something, which is fair, which I think is fair. But the thing is, how we need to think going forward. The thing that should come to your mind always is how I can make any solution, any project, whatever idea that you are working on, foolproof by taking around the situation around us, right? at any given point of time things can change, and how am I making my solution bulletproof, and if not completely bulletproof, but at least it should be able to hold on to some of the challenges that might come into picture unknowingly, right? AI literacy and digital skills, that's where I was talking about these things, right? So assume that you are doing some project in your as a part of your curriculum. My take on this is, and this I suggest to my daughter as well, she's also in college like you guys, she's doing engineering. So I tell her as well that, you know, if you have an idea, just maybe form a group of your friends, 5-6 people, and talk about it, you know, present it, and tell them, you know, this is what the idea. Nowadays you have a lot of these hackathons and all those things happen, right, all the time. So, you know, make use of such opportunities, participate in whatever your colleges must be bringing, some kind of competitions. Use those platforms to put forward your ideas, right? Work on it, discuss it amongst your friends. If you are not very confident of, like, you know, going directly to your teachers and present about it, first form a group of friends, present it in them. They will ask you some questions that will, you know, trigger some of the ideas in you. Okay, if someone asks me this question, how am I going to solve this problem, right? So this is the way you can prepare even for the interviews, right? And another tip that I can tell you is that participate in these whatever competitions. Along with that, if you have thoughts, start writing it, start presenting it, be it on I don't know whether it is allowed on social media, or there are multiple portals, IEEE, and you know, there are a lot of places where you can write your articles. There are authentic technical spaces where you can put forward your you know, thesis or ideas, whatever that you want to call it as, and you know, that will give you a confidence to talk convincingly about your ideas. So more that you talk, more that you write about it, and more that you implement about your ideas, then I'm telling you, that's what interviewers or the placement guys look out for. People who would have done the things, even though it's a POC, doesn't matter. If you have an idea, start doing something about it. Do your coding, implement it, put it in some shape and form, have some point of view about it, and always try to find out this is what the problem that this project will solve. If you can tell the interviewer this convincingly, the half battle is won, I'm telling you. Always tell what problem you are going to solve and which are the personas who are going to get benefited out of it, right? So if I'm doing a healthcare project, who do you think is going to get help from it? Doctors, maybe. Doctors, maybe other support staff, whoever the admin team who is running the hospital. Nowadays, analytics is running big way in the hospitals, by the way, AI based analytics. So what they will do, they'll take the patient's data, again, there's a lot of ethics involved around it, but take that data, find the trends. They will say, you know, the diabetes is increasing, your BP is increasing, thyroid has this problem. So they have all sorts of analytics in place now, right? So what the doctor will do, the doctor will also take help from all this information. So now if you talk to any doctors who are working in the big hospitals, they will tell you that there's a lot of information which is available, the patient information which is available at their disposal. There's a lot of predictions that they have at their disposal, lot of what do we say, recommendations from AI, how they can treat. Again, can they blindly go ahead with that? The answer is no, but of course they can leverage this information, right? So the thing is, your softer skills has to complement your whatever education that you guys are taking. It has to go hand in hand, right? How students can, how you guys can prepare yourself for the way ahead, right? Learn how to use AI tools productively. The important word here is productively. Not just you have been given assignments, you go to the AI platform and get some answer. That's not the productive usage of AI, let me tell you, right? It will, as I said, it might give you information, but you should have your own perspective, your own point of view on top of that. That's where your individuality comes into picture, right? Otherwise, ChatGPT answer here and ChatGPT answer there are same. So learn how that AI tool will complement your point of view. It should not be the only point of view that you should have. You should have your own individual perspective on it, and then only the things will fly for you. So yes, you should learn how to use it productively. Build projects, portfolios and practical skills. It's extremely important, I'm telling you. I mean, many people nowadays, they have the theory knowledge, right? We learn so many things, there's curriculum available, people learn, but are you able to use it, right? Have you done some work with what that you have learned? Let's say you have learned SAP Finance, right? You have learned SAP Finance, but did you do anything with that? Did you implement it? Again, implement, I'm not saying go and implement it for some company. No, that's not the expectation. But do you have a point of view using SAP Finance? Probably I will do this work. You know, I will implement it in this way. These are the personas. These are the people who will get benefited. This is the industry that will get benefited. Let's say some work was done by a human being, let's say in 1 month. Now that work can be done in 15 days. You know, something like that. So we had an example where we used to do financial consolidation. Do you guys know what is financial consolidation? So assume that a business have their entities or their subsidiaries spread across, let's say US and EMEA. There's something in India. How do you take the balance sheets of all the countries, bring it together? And now you can imagine the kind of variations, the foreign currency valuations, intercompany eliminations. There are n number of things. And if it is a business, like let's say business as big as maybe Reliance, let's say, n number of entities, n number of line of businesses, you know, complex stuff. How do you make their financial reports work? And believe me, all the shareholders of those big companies are consuming this information. Now, if there is any error in the software that you are implementing, it has the potential to rock the share prices, right? So I was working with one of the clients in UK. So they were using very old system for their financial consolidation, very old system. SAP's tool only, but it was very old system. And we were asking, guys, what is this? I mean, you are such a big organization, the technology is going somewhere and you guys are on this legacy system for so long. What is wrong? Like, why are you not upgrading? But they were so petrified with this whole notion that, you know, in this transition, if something happens to my system when I am still implementing, when the cutover and this transition is happening, if something happens to my financial reports, my share prices are going to crash. You know, it has impact of that nature, right? The idea that I'm trying to tell you is, for us, it's just a software. For the person who is consuming it, you know, it's a very big deal. So we need to put ourselves in the client's place. And when I say client, the client could be anyone, someone who is going to use your work in your institution, right? Let's say you are building something for this college, assume library related some system. So how are you going to make that the person who is running the library, how are you going to make his or her life easy? Is he able to save some effort? Is his work getting easy? Or are you just complicating and building something for the sake of it? So these are the questions and these are the answers that before answering to anyone else, we have to answer it for ourselves. You know, what is that we are trying to solve? Who is getting benefited? How I can make a difference in this. So these are the skills which will set you apart. And this is what you need to present when you are presenting your projects or you are appearing for interviews. Like, you know, if you can articulate it well, then you have edge, right? Internship certifications. Certifications is important, right? So if some of you guys are going to take courses on ERP, I will strongly recommend that you take certifications, right? Again, does it mean that it gives you the job just because you are certified? The answer is no. Probably it will not, but it will help. It will enhance your chances of getting you will have edge over others, right? If I am certified, it means that I have the bare minimum knowledge which is required to get into, or if I know that technology very well, I can answer, or I know the nuances of it. So these certifications very important earlier, but nowadays it's even more important because the technology is moving very fast. So in SAP area, like whatever changes that I didn't see in last 20 years, maybe I have seen in last 5 years, right? Every other year, everything is moving to cloud. Everything is, every other 3 months, we are getting new features from SAP, right? So they are also in business. If they want to sustain the competition, they also have to continuously keep on bringing new features in their portfolio. So they keep bringing something. We as a partners for SAP, like be it anyone, like whoever is running the ERP software, be it IBM or Accenture or whoever it is, right? All the system integrators who are working on SAP or Oracle projects, they will have to make sure that, you know, nowadays there is a mandate from all these ERP software companies. So SAP says, unless your people are certified, we are not going to allow them to do implementations for our clients. This is what has happened. This is as recent as, like, you know, last year. Earlier there was never ever, I had never seen any such compulsions coming in from SAP or Oracle. But now they're saying, if I am bringing, or if as a SAP we are bringing in so many features, your consultants have been, they are like, you know, people who are sitting in the system, not upgrading themselves. Even if 100 new things we are bringing, if the people who are implementing it, if they don't know it, it's of no use, right? So we all in our organization, we all have been given targets that we need to keep ourselves updated. Every year we get 4 attempts to clear our certifications, right, in our core area and some of the AI aspects and so on and so forth. So why I'm trying to give you this example is, it's not only for students anymore, right? People who are in the organizations, who are working, they also have to keep themselves updated with all of this, right? Even we are asked to work on POCs, even we are asked to present our ideas, and if we are not able to convince our own internal people, forget about clients, they are not going to get convinced, right? So use your internal network, your friends, your teachers. If you have any ideas, present it in the classrooms. I think that will bring that will make a lot of difference. Stay curious and keep experimenting. How many of you believe in this? Keep learning. I'm telling you this. Don't think that now, okay, my degree is done, I'm doing this post graduation, whatever course that you are doing, and I'm done for the life. That's absolutely is not the case anymore, right? And be it any field. I'm not talking about just because I'm in the software industry or IT industry. Be it any field. That's the case now, right? If you don't keep yourself updated with whatever the latest and greatest which is happening in the market around us, we will be outdated. So it's extremely important to stay curious and keep learning. So what is the new formula? How do you make sure that you are sellable in the market, right? Whenever I say you, it's equally important for me as well. Any one of us, right? So domain knowledge plus AI skills plus human skills. It's gone are the days where we used to get jobs only based on our degrees. It's not there anymore. It's absolutely not there anymore, right? So you need to know what is happening in your domain. And when I say domain, assume that you are doing something in, again I'm taking example of finance because I work in there. I should know, if I am working in SAP Finance, I should know what is the client's pain points which they are expecting us to solve. What are the new trends which are coming in the market? What is my competition doing, right? So if I need to be relevant, I need to know what is happening around us. So your domain. And again, when I say domain can have different perspectives also. So if I'm talking to a client who is coming from FMCG, so let's say we are doing a big project for Nestle, right? FMCG, big FMCG. They will ask, what you guys did for the clients which are similar, the scale of like us, as big as us. So they ask us for those use cases, right? So I should know what is happening in FMCG, what their problems are, what are they expecting. If the supply chain is crumbling so fast, how can I make my business more resilient? My software should be equipped to, take into consideration all these disruptions which are happening around me, right? I mean, you wouldn't believe, we were implementing one project for one of the Indian clients, and they were manufacturers in something. And their SD system, which is sales and distribution system, had some issue, stopped working. And because of that, there were 50 trucks on the road which were waiting, and they were not able to get into the market. The police had to come, So we don't know what kind of situation that we will land up because of a small problem, because the SD system was not able to recognize some QR codes or whatever happened, and the trucks were staggered on the road, the traffic jam, police came, guys, what is wrong, and our big bosses had to intervene and do all of this. Why? Because of software, one small bug somewhere, right? So the thing is, the issues might seem trivial on the ground, but the repercussions sometimes we are not able to anticipate, and what it means to somewhere who is consuming. So the thing is, it's very important to know the business aspect of it. Not easy, I know that at the entry level it's extremely challenging, but I will recommend that, read some industry insights. Now there's no dearth of information, you can get anything from internet, right? Always keep one eye on what is happening from the business perspective. Have a point of view on that. Know your subject, that's important, but know what is happening and what the businesses are expecting. So that is your domain knowledge, right? So that's your domain knowledge. AI skills. Again, when I say AI, it's not just it's not just how to get answers to something. The chatbot is a very, very basic example. I show you what we did for Falguni Shen, Peacock, these guys, the Bollywood fashion designers, right? So the use case can come from anywhere. It can be from any domain. And are we expert in probably fashion and media? No. There are few people who are experts in our organization in that domain, but not everyone is, right? But still, if I am presenting SAP Finance to these people, assume I should know what is happening in the media industry, in the fashion industry, right? I should have some insight. Then only I'll be able to have a conversation with them. Otherwise, they won't connect. If I talk too much technical jargon with them, they will say, I don't understand. This is all Greek and Latin for me. This is not for me, right? That's where we are going to lose out on the connect. So it's very important. The AI is there, but how do you use it to make your work more attractive or more wholesome than completely relying on it? Because you might pass the exams by taking few things from ChatGPT or whatever, but then when the time will come for you to present your point of views, when you appear for the interviews, it will come out, right, that the person does not know enough. So the thing is, it has to be the holistic learning. And human skills, I can't emphasize on this enough. Important. We all know our COVID days, everyone sitting at home. We lost out on our human interactions, right? And we saw all those issues of, loneliness and mental health issues and stuff. I don't want to go there, but human skills are very important. It's very important to be able to strike a conversation, right? To able to tell your story, and when I say story, don't take it in a literal form, but your use case. You should be able to explain it. You should be able to articulate it well. You should be able to tell ki because of this my X number of man days is going to get reduced, or this Y number of, you will have price reduction or something. So when you make it quantitative, or when you can articulate it in some shape and form, the other person is going to get convinced about it. Or even if human skills are very important, extremely important in nowadays. Even I see in the workplaces, people are impatient. Nobody wants to listen to anyone anymore, right? No resilience sometimes, cannot adapt to the situations. See, today is AI, tomorrow there will be something else. But whatever the human skills that we have, which is inherent to us as a human being, is not replaceable. And that's what will differentiate this person from this person, right? If I'm good on my human values, and especially whenever we get into the leadership roles, it even becomes very, very important that we understand, we empathize with what the other person is going through, what the challenges. Whenever we talk to the client, we should be able to understand what is their pain point, right? So this all starts with, if we are not able to hear patiently to our friends, forget about to our clients, right? So it starts with our day-to-day interactions. How do we put across ourselves in a day-to-day life? Do we have patience? Can we wait for something? अभी मैंने Zomato को कॉल किया, 10 मिनट हो गए, वो नहीं आया, people start getting impatient, right? That's where we are losing out on some of our basic skills, right? But I think technology going everywhere, we are coming back to basics, where if we can demonstrate our basic skills, if we can network well with others, if we can listen to each other well, then I think that will help us in a long way. So this slide is, in my opinion, is extremely important, that you know your domain, right? It's like a tripod. एक भी पैर नहीं है, तो I think that the things will crumble, right? So this is what is important. So we have to have expertise in all these areas. Again, just don't depend on the classroom learning. The learning will happen in the classroom, but apart from that, how do you use your time? How do you use your other resources to build your knowledge is what is going to be extremely important. Communication skills. I can't emphasize enough on this. This is becoming very, very crucial. I see a lot of people in the organizations extremely knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable, very good in their subject, It's just that they are not effective because they cannot communicate well, and clients get frustrated in some cases because they feel that the other person is not able to understand them. They are not able to understand their pain points, and if we can't communicate well, I think we are stopping at the initial level itself. So communication, I think these skills will get built up over the period of time, but start working on it. Participate in whichever shape and form where you can present your ideas, present your point of views, how much ever basic it is. Be comfortable in talking, and again, not that you have to give a big bhashan to anyone, no, that's not the expectation. But effective communication, what it means is that you are able to sell your whatever that you are building, whatever project that you are doing. If you can articulate it well, clearly, crisp, in you don't have to write 2 pages full explanation about it, but if you can put it in bullet points, these are the 3-4 problems that I'm going to solve, these are the people who will get benefited, you're good. Or written communication is different form, but I'm more talking about the verbal communication. It is one of the pain points that I see in the organization. So start working on it right now. Again, the magic will not happen overnight. It is a part of it comes with the experience. As I said, when I started off, I was extremely bad at it. I was very shy. I could never explain, or I could never articulate what I wanted to say. But then, once you work for some years, you start understanding that even the person who is trying to say things, he is also not perfect, or she is also not perfect. Then it gives you courage and confidence to talk. But now, since the times are little changed now. When we started, the era was different. Now you guys are in a different area, and I feel most of the newbies are extremely confident these days. It's just that we should be more comfortable in putting the things together. Fear of technology and change, don't fear, the change will be there. That's why we all are in business. Things are changing, we need to keep ourselves updated and make the things work. Waiting for the perfect time to start learning. There's no perfect time. There will never be. Right? So whatever resources that we have at our disposal, make use of that and get started. Right? And take any opportunities, like if you are getting any internships or any opportunities, even when you are in your courses, do that. There's no replacement for the practical learning. I think that's extremely crucial for the success in these days, right? So lifelong learning is again very important. As I said, today it's SAP, Oracle, AI, tomorrow there will be A, B, C, there's no end to the madness, right? So the only thing is we have to keep learning. I will not go through all points, but you know what I mean, right? Learning, it's not only limited to classroom learning across, just by observing sometimes, just observe how the things are there around us, right? Just by observation, just by listening. We don't have to talk every time, right? Just be patient, listen to what your teachers are saying, what others are saying, what is happening around us. Just by being a silent, or maybe just by being a passive listener also, sometimes not passive, you have to listen actively, but just by being silent also you can learn so many things. So there are different ways. As I said, the jobs are not going, probably the jobs are changing, right? So these are some of the new jobs that I see in my organization now coming up. I never knew about it few years back, right? Cyber security associated with AI, like with AI tools, sustainability data analyst, and so on and so forth. How many of you know about sustainability? Like what are, nowadays the companies have KPIs about their carbon footprint and the recyclable options and what raw materials they use and so on and so forth, right? So as I said, the jobs are not getting replaced. The nature of the jobs or the expectations are getting changed now, right? So again, these are not the only things, but just some of the things, right? Again, there are a lot of online courses which are available. I'm sure your college is providing you ample information, and they're giving you a lot of courses and all of that. But there are this enough and more on the internet as well. Make use of all these assets which are available to you. There are a lot of AI tools. Take whatever that works for you. But at the end of the day, as I said, put your own perspective, put your own personality into it, and then only you can make the difference. Otherwise, what the information is available at everyone's disposal. This difference between information, knowledge, and what we can extract and how we can make it our own and present our ideas. That's what sets us apart, right? So with that, I think I don't mind taking few questions, but this is what I wanted to tell, be curious, keep learning, use all AI and whatever gamut of things that you see around you, but build your own knowledge and try to tell your own stories, which will resonate with to whoever that you are presenting. That's where you will be seen as a different person. Thank you so much, and it was indeed a pleasure for me to, have an interaction. I hope you learned something.